Pros vs. Joes at-home edition is sponsored by Gigamon. Gigamon Threat Insight accelerates network detection and response by providing continual monitoring and analysis of your network. Utilizing high-fidelity threat detection and recommended next steps, Gigamon Threat Insight offers investigation and response teams a way to operationalize the critical data necessary to defeat active threats in the environment. Visit gigamon.com for more information.
Here we go, boys. Yeah, welcome to the Pros vs. Joes at Home edition. I really should have had some clapping sound effects or something. Wow, this is exciting. How you doing, boys?
Pretty damn good. How about you?
Man,
amazing.
I'm stoked for this. My name is Danny Akatsuki, also known as Rando, and joining me for the kickoff of, is this the first time you've ever done this dichotomy?
It is, yeah. We've done lots of B-sides, Vegas, Delaware, DC, etc., but this is our first online only.
All right, so this is the very first time online because, hey, viruses suck. So we have decided, us here with Gigamon and with Red Lion LLC, who have been, Red Lion's been with PBJ for a while. Gigamon is we've recently started sponsoring, starting with BSides Delaware, I think. DC,
Yep.
and then Delaware.
DC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DC.
And then Delaware,
DC was kind of that under the cover thing, just getting started.
Right. And
literally getting in bed with each other. Okay.
literally getting in bed.
Whoa.
No, that's
Whoa.
Vegas.
Whoa.
That's Vegas. Shh.
Hey, what
we
happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Well, we're not in Vegas, though, I guess, so hey.
We also have to be cognizant that this is actually streaming to my employer.
What happens during COVID?
So, yes, this is Pros versus Joes, and we're going to get into the whole thing. This is the kickoff hour, and there will be a streaming schedule that we'll put up. There's going to be a scoreboard we're going to put up. This thing is going to be awesome. I'm really, really excited. So let's start doing introductions to see exactly what the heck is Pros versus Joes. I am going to introduce all of my my kickoff partners here. From top left on down, we have Mr. Josh Marpet, aka Quadling. Below him, Mr. Scott Lyons, aka Casper, both from Red Lion, and the man of the hour, whose brainchild this was, wouldn't be happening without Eric and his entire team, Mr. Dichotomy himself. How are you, sir?
Doing well, Dandy. Thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, thanks for giving a shout out to my team because, as much as I'm here, it's the blood, sweat, and tears of all those amazing volunteers.
Dude, it's so crazy.
On prosversusjoes.net. You can see them all there.
It's so crazy. So just a little history for it because we have the actual game kicks off in like an hour,
yep.
Right? Am I correct? Cool. So we got some time to chat.
Actually, sorry, 44 minutes.
44.
Counting down.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right, because I was busy doing production-y things. And 15 minutes past the hour. 15 minutes past the hour by the time I get started. So yeah, just a little history about how I and Gigamon got hooked up with this. I got reached out by Gabe the engineer, part of your team, and said, "Hey, we saw what you guys were doing with Gigamon." So, by the way, this is sponsored, right? I am a senior technical account manager with Gigamon Threat Insight. What is Threat Insight? Threat Insight is a threat hunting platform, right? We find all the evil, hunty, thready things. And it's awesome. Like, not for nothing, it's made for analysts by analysts. So I've had started talking about it on Twitter because I actually like my job. I love the team I work for. I love our product because it works. And so naturally, I'll talk about it a little bit. I think I was scheduling meetings for Black Hat last year, and Gabe is like, "Hey, we do this thing called Pros versus Joes, and we have tools and it gets sponsors. Like, do you want to talk to us about it? I said, hell yeah, I want to talk to you about it. I think our tool would be really awesome for it. So I sat down with Gabe. I found him during DEF CON, and we sat down, had lunch, and we talked for at least 2 hours about pros versus Joes. And we just thought this is a natural match made in heaven. And since then, it's been full speed ahead. Yeah, you're between Gabe and Daniel and all your red team, and we're going to get to all this in the next 45 minutes before we kick all this off. So that's how Gigamon got involved in this, and we were hungry. Threat Insight was hungry for this. Like, we love when people use the tool, and we're going to get to how we use that during the game. But let's get to our other partner here, Red Lion. Can you guys introduce yourselves and tell us what Red Lion does?
Sure. Why not? Hi, everybody. Scott Lyons. Handle is Casper. Danny, thank you for putting this together. Eric, thank you for doing all of this. It's greatly appreciated. Josh and I have been in the industry for a long time. I'm not going to step on Josh's toes. We do security and compliance, professional services, along with other think tank magical menagerie. I've been waiting to use that.
You sound so smart.
Oh no. Not smart. Not smart. If I was smart, I wouldn't have used it.
Yeah, dear God. So Scott and I have been in the business way too long in security, IT, compliance. That's where we live. And we come at compliance, which is our primary focus now, from a security background and a security point of view, which apparently is weird and different for most compliance people. So that's cool. We're differentiator for us. We're involved with many conferences, BSides Delaware, of course, BSides DC. We were part of DerbyCon, ShmooCon, DEF CON. Scott runs, or is one of the DEF CON swag goons, rather. We've been around the block more than once, and we've seen Gigamon, and of course we know PVJ. PVJ is famous, and CTF Factory is kind of awesome, and we're really proud to be involved and to be part of this whole incredibly cool thing going on. So yeah, that's us. And if you want to talk about compliance or ask questions about security and all kinds of weird angles, yell, man. We're always here to talk.
That's awesome. So, how, Eric? Let's get to how this all started. How long has PVJ been going on? Who thought of it? Where do you do it? Who's involved? Just you do the whole show.
Yeah. No, whoa. Okay. Careful what you wish for. So taking it from the top, right? Credit where credit's due. Josh Marpet there, Quadlane. He dragged me into this. Got to give you credit, Josh. I mean, you helped it happen, and you've been a champion of us ever since. And thank you for that, for your continued support. But yeah, it was 2011, I think, 2012. You pulled me in, BSides Delaware. Hey, I'm doing professoring stuff, adjunct professoring gig on the side, helping train a CCDC team at Wilmington University. Still doing that today. They've been a fantastic supporter of us, of course. But at the end of the day, we were building a range. We were going to, do what we do what CCDC does in our own environment. And, Josh and I, grabbed me and said, let's, go to a CTF at BSides Delaware. And so, we threw it together. It was kind of already on point with what we were doing. And from there, he's like, you know what? You're going to Vegas and doing BSides Vegas. I was like, what? We are? And so we did that the following August. And as they say, the rest is history. It was a long road. The BSides LV crew has been fantastic in supporting us and cultivating helping us cultivate what we do. BSides Delaware every year. We would never miss either of them. We started doing BSides DC. Duran and her crew are lovely, and they've helped us do amazing things, and we're happy to contribute to their wonderfulness. And the other BSides along the way, there was Indy for a while. There was Salt Lake. There was Hack West. We want to do more as we can, but there's so many hours in the day, and we have a lot of great volunteers who put in a crap ton of effort. It's just never enough because there's always more we could do. So we're always growing our staff, improving and how we do and automating and all that good stuff. So and at the end of the day, it's that whole, actually real quick, Josh, there was someone, I don't remember who, maybe you do, who said, hey, there should be a pros versus Joes. And so, because you pulled me into it, I was like, okay, I like the mission. where we, the whole point of this CTF is learning. It's about teaching the Joes in a friendly environment where they can fail safely and have fun doing it. And if they can win, that's great. But, it's kind of a dojo for that offensive, defensive, hands-on.
It's so I'm gonna yeah, if I recall correctly, that was actually me. I was like, there used to be this series on TV, the Pros versus Joes football games, and a long time ago. And it'd be really cool if we could do the same thing in CTF land. So it's not just who can beat up on each other, but it's who can teach each other. And you were like, yeah, I'll do that, because you didn't want to do just beat up on everybody. You wanted to have it being a learning experience. And I was like, all right, so do one day where there's a professional red team and an amateur blue team, and then switch them around so the blue team is now attacking the professionals as defenders, and then cut them in half and swap them again, so that now you've got some of the professionals working with the amateurs and teaching them. And you were like,
real quick,
yeah, let's do that.
That was something we talked about. That's not what we do. If any of my players are watching the stream right now, you do not attack red team. No. You attack the other blue team when you have authorization, which I will not be giving until later, much later. So I just want to be clear about that.
This was the original strategy discussion. It was very
Agreed.
quick. It was literally like we were standing outside BSides Delaware, I think, or on one of the calls. And I'm like, and you were like, I'm going to modify that, but I think it could work. So
that's why we make a good team. We play off each other well, I think.
Well said, sir. Well said. But literally, Danny, it was literally like, we should have a CTF. And Eric was like, there probably should be a CTF sometime in the future. I'm like, we got 3 months. It's going to be this year. And he goes, oh yeah, but who's going to do it? I'm like, oh, you just volunteered.
Wait, like you didn't know that you were
agreeing with every BSides volunteer ever.
No, that's awesome. So, all right, so that's the history. That's how it started. What is the game? Because my favorite thing about getting to know you guys has been learning about how you run this thing. Between the teams and the captains, the filthy red teamers, those poor Joes, and there's the store and the scoreboard. Like, tell everybody about it, man. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah. So it is an offensive-defensive model. If anyone is familiar with CCDC, it's remarkably similar to that, very much based on it. But at the end of the day, we've certainly taken it and modified it and enhanced it for what we do, and just added our own flair and flavor. So each blue team is given a series of assets to defend. They're all given network access to a private network through a VPN, where all the shenanigans can occur in relative safety if everyone follows the rules. They're tasked with defending an environment that is very much like an enterprise class environment, with Windows and Linux servers and desktops, mail, DNS, web, the whole 9 yards, plus a bunch of weird surprises. They've got a firewall in there. They've always got some weird twist that we put in for funsies, several usually. The whole idea is that red team is attacking them. It used to be that we would not let red team in the environment until day of. We realized fairly quickly that was probably not the best way, and we give them access early on. Because in this day and age, it's not a question of if an organization has been breached, but when and by whom and how badly and how long. So we play very much on the right-hand side of that initial penetration. Red team gets access for weeks or months in advance to an environment. That is, as I described, they get to do all their persistence things, set up their C2, all those lovely things. In the meanwhile, we put out the call for players. The Joes sign up. We have our pro captains, some of whom are staff on PVJ, some of whom are applicants who want to help out from outside, and we get them all together. They spend weeks or months forming up teams and training and preparing the Joes. Unfortunately, this game was a little rushed, so hopefully future at-home games are not quite so rushed, but I'm seeing a lot of great chatter on our Slack and a lot of fantastic effort on the parts of our Joes and our pros, red and blue, to prepare for this thing. So yeah, honestly, 90% of the effort goes in advance, and that shows in the quality of play and the amazing things I see happen every time. And so from there, once the starting bell rings in 33 minutes, it's all pandemonium and chaos. The world is on fire, and this is fine. It's okay, really. Red team goes in there and starts toying with the blues very politely, very gently, in a playful fashion. Blue tries to kick them out. They try and do the best they can there. They have to keep services up and running and healthy, because what environment would ever have no services? And throughout it all, there's just this constant back and forth struggle. So yeah, and that's kind of it in a nutshell. I kind of went on for a while there, but maybe that answered a lot of your questions.
Go on as long as you want. This is I want to be very, very clear on this. It's we are so happy through Gigamon and Gigamon Insight. Redline is stoked to be a part of this, but this is your show, brother. Like,
Yep.
Appreciate that.
none of us are here helping this. None of us are here doing this without the entire staff of PVJ. What you thought up, because I think what people don't realize, like, hey, this is pretty cool. This is a cool event and it's running, but you really you don't think about the journey that it took to get here and all of the work and the infrastructure goes up and down. Like, hey, servers are down, now they're up, and blah blah blah. I am in the PVJ Slack and I'm constantly seeing the comms that go between all of you. You're up at all hours. Sometimes I can't raise you during normal work hours, but at night I'm like, oh, there he is, and I get all the responses to my messages all at once. So,
Fair enough.
We are here supporting you, and I'm so excited that people who maybe can't make it out to in a normal reality, can't make it out to Vegas, can't make it out to whatever normal reality used to be, but now they can play. How many players do we have for today and tomorrow?
We went a little high. Normally we only have about 32 Joes, 4 teams of 8, and then a couple of pros on top of that, blue pros, and then the reds. There's usually about a dozen. Because we're doing something we've never done before, and we're playing for 34 hours straight, no breaks, I decided to up the team count, figuring, you know what, give them a little more people power, give them a little bit more capacity for people to step away, take some breaks, spend time with family, or maybe do job if they have to. Whatever it is, just regain some sanity, because it's an intense pressure cooker once it fires off. Actually, before that, even then. And so, yeah, we're running about 40 some goes at this time, mid 40s. Again, about 8 or 10 pros, roughly, depending on how you count, plus the red team. And yeah, you absolutely said it right there. I mean, the gold team should not be underappreciated. I've got amazing people who have spent a lot of time building things, the iron. So like on the infrastructure crew, we've got Uplink and Tectonic and Old School Noise and Zero Bit Smith and Hazar and a bunch of other people. And these people, they put the iron together. We got hypervisor clusters that are running this on enterprise class networking and all that good stuff. And these are professionals. This is what they do in their day job, and they're here because they love it. And we're all with that same mission of helping to improve and helping others to cultivate their knowledge, their careers, do better for the industry and the community. And so, yeah, as much as we talk about red and blue, there's that unseen side of the gold team who puts in all that effort to make it happen. And always talk about, game mechanics and rules and balance. And, you'd mentioned Gabe before. And so, he's done an amazing job at being our game architect and helping us grow as, into a mature kind of game. And there's lots more we're going to do there. But yeah, and so, I guess going on from there, I talked about the red versus blue dynamics. Probably good to talk a bit about how the game will play over the next several hours, in fact. Normally when we have a game in Vegas, for example, it's a 2-day affair. We run for 8 or 7 hours day one. Then blue takes a break. They kind of catch their breath. They have to step away from the keys. They're cut off from the environment. But red keeps going. They do what they do. And then blue comes back the next day, and then the fun continues. And, at that point, it becomes what we call purple. So, there's red versus blue normally. And it is important to note that blue is not competing against the red. The red team does not even appear on the scoreboard for points. Rather, what happens is the blue teams are competing against each other. So it's not about outrunning the bear. It's about outrunning everybody else who's trying to outrun the bear. And so, on day 2, though, the blues go and have the opportunity to attack each other. The scoring is primarily driven by health and welfare. Can they keep their services up and running? But there's also a detriment for a beacon or a flare, if you will, where the offensive side, whether it's red or blue, depending on the phase of the game, can beacon out from an asset they control to the scoring and just say, I own this. And the team who's being beaconed from will lose points. So there's that aspect of it. And then, by that time, day two, players are usually getting pretty exhausted, pretty tired. So I'm very interested to see how this goes with a marathon for 30-some hours nonstop. And then towards the very end, it's kind of like, screw it. And we go into what's called Scorched Earth mode, where basically, for the duration of the game, offensive players, be they blue or red in the context of the time, are only allowed to do certain things. We don't want to push people to rage quit. We don't want to piss people off and make it a lousy experience. The fun is as much a part of it as anything. And so there's rules. You can't nuke a box. You can't lock them out. You can't do things that would be not genteel, let's say. And so, but towards that Scorched Earth, that final hour before we call it a done thing, that's when a lot of those restrictions get cut, and they are allowed to essentially smoke them if you got them. They can burn assets to the ground. They can have a little bit more fun, because at the end of the day, it's the last home stretch, and you all need to blow off a little steam. And so, and then at that point, the game wraps up, and we have an after actions or a hot wash call where red and blue get together and they chit chat. And there's a lot of full disclosure going on, where red explains a lot of what they did. They pulled some cards in reserve, but they, again, that spirit of learning and that effort to cultivate the Joes who signed up and put in so much effort to make this to participate and make it happen on their own right. And they get to ask questions. The Joes can ask questions of that red team and say, hey, I saw this. What happened here? And it's really fantastic to see a lot of those conversations unfold, where the defenders and the adversaries kind of get to, break bread together almost and talk about shared experiences. And there's a lot of fun times. So, I think that kind of sums it up there.
Sorry, Josh messed everything up by leaving Zoom, so now I got to rearrange everything. This is where you see Danny scrambling to
I didn't realize turning off my camera would be the same as leaving. I apologize.
Apparently, well, today we learned that it is. So, you know what? I'm not even going to show your camera. No, I'm going to work out it here in the background. Who are your team captains? Dichotomy.
Let's see here. Hold on a second. I don't want to make a mistake on that. I got 1,000 things going on, so I apologize. My brain is stretched.
Yeah. By the way, the fact that he's even on right now in the beginning here is like miraculous. His brain is
actually
really cooking.
That's true, because normally before an event I'll be like, hey Eric, how you doing? What's good? Go away. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And actually, I may have to start fading away as we approach the starting gun. In fact, I'm going to ask someone else to talk in a few minutes after I answer your question, Danny.
Fair enough.
So we got Imposter and P. LaRoque, let's say, are one of our applicants. We've got so Imposter is one of our staffers. He's been around for a long time. He's a fantastic guy. We've got Hazar. He's another staffer. He's been fantastic. One of your friends has signed up there to help him out. We have Mike H., fantastic guy, played with us before. He's really stepped up to help us out. Two of my PVJ associates, RJ and Zero Decay. They're also helping out on the leadership side of Team 3. And lastly, Team 4, we have DMFR, another one of my staffers who's been with us for many years, brings so much value to the team. And then lastly, another one of your friends as well. I am a little bit hesitant. I'm not sure what people want to be named. But, my staff are pretty much, they have their handles and all that good stuff. So, we've got a good spread of pros here. And they've done a great job. In the short amount of time they've been given, I have been astounded to see the amount of preparation and effort put into it on the blue side, Joe and pro alike.
Well, Eric, listen, that's thank you. And you are coming down to the wire, so you may feel free to get the hell out of here and go start setting up all your stuff. I'm not going to keep you on here.
Well, I'll stick around, but I may go on mute and get distracted. So
okay, no, that's perfectly fine. And I'm still trying to get Josh back in here. So give me one. Quick, somebody talk about something while Danny unscrews up the
So let's talk about
quadling.
how Josh can screw up anything in a matter of minutes with a simple button press.
Oh
It's
my
amazing.
See, that was orchestrated. That he was setting himself up to talk about that. You can see that now.
It's amazing. It's like it's effectively like Danny just wants to have things screw up. So remember, everybody, log on now and just blow up the servers, and he'll be so happy. Okay,
This is ridiculous.
and your sticker's backwards, Danny. Just FYI.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that.
No, oh no! Don't blame Danny for messing things up.
I mean, I'm just saying it's backwards. I'm not saying it's a mess up. Maybe it was deliberate. I don't know. It's artistic. Danny's an artist, so maybe it's artistic.
You know what? I did not take into account the mirror effect. Yes, while Danny's trying to fix Josh's screw up, let's deflect and talk about all of the things that Danny has screwed up.
Project, deflect.
That background, Danny. No.
Where's Quadling? Where's your label? There
That's
you
okay.
are.
My green screen fell off the damn wall because it's like I just gave up on my background. It's ridiculous.
Here we go. I fixed it.
Let's see. There we go. Yay!
Very good. All right, now I feel better. I'm like, I know the economy's talking, but I'm not paying attention because I'm trying to fix what. Yes, no. When I put this sticker on, this is actually like a thing that helps the sound. I think it helps. I don't know. I'm just faking this. And I was like, oh, I want to put. There's the label of the people that make this thing. I was like, well, that's boring. I want to put a sticker on, and I didn't take into account the mirror effect. So I wonder if I can actually change that in here somewhere. But anyway, we're getting off.
There's a mirror. You can mirror your camera. It's in Zoom, and there's XSplit. I think does it. I don't know what you use.
He's using
OBS.
Yeah.
OBS. I think OBS has it. I'm not sure. I'd have to check.
Well, that's something I'll figure out later. Well,
No,
again,
it's okay.
Remaining cognizant of like, oh, this is on Gigamon's channel.
So we're having talks today, right, Danny?
Yes.
What talks are we having, Danny? Do you know anything about the schedule?
Who's talking today, Danny? Is there a schedule?
Thank God it's not just going to be me talking today. God, like that's giving me because we recently did on my Twitch stream. We did that 24-hour charity thing, and for some reason I ended up in a lot of those conversations over 24 hours. And I remember going downstairs and like getting something to drink or whatever, and I'm like, oh man, it's been a long time. Like, what time is it? Well, 3 hours. And so I was like, we still got 21 left. So no, this is not going to be that. You're not going to see me the entire time.
Well, I mean, at one point we were like, we're all chatting on his 24-hour stream and like, oh, what's Danny doing? Blah, 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 blah. And we get this message. I'm unloading groceries. Can you leave me alone for 5 minutes?
I had to go do family things because I like being married. And actually, I haven't even cut apart that yet, but I remember I put my puppet. I have a hand puppet, which I might bring out later. And weren't you guys putting like thought bubbles over him or something?
We were just sitting there going like,
we were having fun
puppet
with
is creepy. I'm going to kill you in your sleep.
And you know what? It dawns on me. It's really hard for me to say. I don't speak on behalf of my employer because I'm streaming on their YouTube right now. I'm not killing anybody in their sleep. My puppet's not killing anybody. Everybody is fine. Anyway,
we've got something in chat for how do I get CTF deets details. Might spin up a team for Hacksal.
Oh, I'm gonna actually copy and paste that in the chat right now.
Awesome.
Here you go. Get up there. Well, that's the page for today, but go out to the main page and you'll see it's prosversusjoes.net. So yes.
Wait, say that again. Wait, say that one more time. You ran a little fast there.
It's prosversusjoes.net. Is that good?
prosversusjoes.net.
Everybody do their announcer voice. Scott, your turn.
This just in, if you go and visit prosversusjoes.net, you'll definitely be able to not only find the stream, but also the details of how to join the game.
That's right, Scott. And if you act now, you can get 5 people in the game for the price of only 15.
Wait, that math?
And I'm going to
Hold on. That math does not work out for me, Josh. Can you please dive into it?
That's because your IQ is smaller than the temperature of a well-cooled monkey.
of a well-cooled. Did you hear about the monkey that escaped with like coronavirus samples?
What? Are you serious or are you joking? Because like that's
Maybe
weird,
not.
man.
Taking a left turn here.
Ay vey. I'm sorry.
Anyway,
oh my god.
what we're actually doing here. See, this is actually everybody will get a taste of what happens on my actual streams on my own channel. But no, what we are doing here, I have the schedule up now, and I will have a rolling one up. We are doing the opening ceremony and welcome right now. CTF begins formally in just over 15 minutes.
When do we close registration for PVJ?
I don't know, Eric. When do we close registration for PVJ?
Yeah, so registration we've kept open, but it's kind of you're in a wait list mode. Teams are full at this point. I don't think we're going to have anyone drop at this time. I don't know that we'll have any openings for any players, but because again, this is a thing that starts weeks in advance. But you know, it doesn't hurt to sign up and just see what happens. But I would not expect anyone who signs up now to get a chance to play, unfortunately.
Is there
we'll
a
do
chance
this again, but go ahead.
Is there a chance for like a late night team? Like if nobody's playing at 3 a.m.
I don't know. I'd have to check with my captains about that, right?
Okay, I'm just curious. I sprang that on him.
Yeah. You got to realize, right? And actually, this is a great opportunity to talk about this, Josh. Thank you. It's a team game, right? So it's not a individuals hackathon with a Jeopardy board in front of you, like 95% of the other CTFs out there in the world, which is fantastic. They teach amazing skills that way, but this is a different dynamic. This is about teams. This is about communications. This is about the bigger picture, and it's also a lot about buffer overflows and C2 and persistence and all the other fun things that we all like to geek out about. But again, 95% of the benefit and effort comes before the actual game, maybe 80%, but yeah, so unfortunately, last-minute ads, they're not going to get as much value anyway, and we'll see. I'll check with my captains. Maybe they'll have some capacity, but you got to play it a little carefully because there's team dynamics already being built here.
I got to tell you, Eric, I like that video that you're using. This one right here, right, is just it's wonderful. Whoever came up with that.
Yeah, whoever came up with that. Yeah, so modest.
Do you mean the guy you paid on Fiverr to do it for you?
There
Shut
you
up,
go.
Danny.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I was trying to make this easy for Eric. Shut up, Danny.
I mean, good for you.
Well, having said that, thank you for having that done, Scott. That was amazing.
No. I was really trying to say the guy who did it was did an absolutely amazing job, and it looks really good. And it wasn't me that did it.
Well, you made it. You arranged for it to happen. So awesome.
Somebody paid for it. So yes,
we paid for it, but we wanted Eric to have something good. And Scott took this on himself. He did a great job. He has this guy on Fiverr that does amazing work. That video, he did an intro, an outro, some transitions, just did some beautiful stuff.
Hey, while we're talking about beautiful stuff, Danny, can you do me a favor and transition over to the names of that name board?
Why, yes, I can, Scott. Let me do my magic, and thanks for putting me on the spot.
I mean, what are friends for, right?
You're so bad. Hate you. There you go. It's up. Well, it's going to be up because you're going to watch it on a delay.
There we go. Yeah, no, earlier, Eric, when you were talking about a big thank you to the staff, I put it up in the chat, but I also wanted to be able to have it seen on stream, for the blue, the red, the gold, and the associates, right? The amount of work that these guys have put in is insane, right? And I really don't think that they've gotten enough credit for everything that they've done.
Yeah.
So if you know these guys, if you run in circles with these guys, by all means, say thank you, because this is just crazy.
Yeah. Now, it should be noted, there's more staff than this, right? These are the people who directly contributed and are participating in this event. Not everyone can participate in every event. On my website are most of those people. I still need to get some of them updated, but at the end of the day, A lot of fantastic people have done a lot of fantastic things, and so definitely want them to get the credit they deserve because this doesn't happen without them, no question.
Yeah.
And throughout the, I'm going to transition over to throughout the game when we're not talking, when we're not having talks, which I'll get to in just a second. I'm going to have the scoreboard up just like this. This is going to be this is probably the wrong scoreboard, but I'll fix it. This is probably the test scoreboard. But throughout the whole game, if we are not talking, if we're not having talks or doing the panel or whatever, the scoreboard will be showing. And maybe I'll do some extra little tricks like show some red teamy type videos or that kind of thing because we're not going to be on.
Danny, can you break that scoreboard down a little bit?
Sure. So actually, hey Eric, can you break the scoreboard down?
It's his game. I was gonna say.
Let's play kickball.
Yeah, exactly. So the scoreboard. Full credit to Digital Flame for producing this. He's done an amazing job. At the end of the day, it's as I said, it's the blue teams and how they are doing in the thing. Now, I think this is the right event. It's just that we haven't started yet. So, in fact, the scoreboard should get lit up soon. What will happen is it goes green across the board. Those health and welfare things start lighting up. The engine will check it from DNS all the way through ping and service health checks and all that good stuff. And as long as services are up and running, blue teams will be earning points to try and win the game. Eventually, red team will elect to start beaconing out from assets they control, and they will start, getting beacons out there to the scoring engine to say, I own this, at which time the scoring engine will say, cool, that blue team is going to have to lose some points. It's a sad thing, but it has to happen. There are other aspects of the game. Yeah, I know. It happens a lot, trust me. There are other aspects of the game mechanics like the storefront and the economics. We're still trying to see if we can get that involved in this game here, so I'll go into detail about that later. But the core of it is that that uptime and the beacons from the offensive control of assets.
Excellent. Well, that is going to be up all pretty much all the time. And I'm going to be rotating through in this upper left here of between thanking the staff, thanking the sponsors, which is kind of self-serving because I'm one of them, and having the scoreboard up. But yeah, this is our first time doing this, right? This is the first time for all of us streaming this event. So we're coming up with content ideas. Like we're trying to I saw a tweet the other day that had like 30 some red teamy CTF type videos. Like maybe we can show them. So there's going to be. I usually hype these things going, we're going to have some surprises for you. No, I guarantee it's going to be surprises for us too. Like
we're going to be surprised.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, we could do that. So yes, back to the schedule here is what the schedule is. So CTF begins in 10 minutes. And then between 8 to 10, there's really not a whole lot. We can just talk if you want, or just nothing. We're going to have the scoreboard up. Do some operational things, and then at where are we at now? We are at going to be 11 a.m. Eastern, so at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'm sorry. The schedule I'm still looking at it is in Pacific time, so it's messing me up. At 10, 11, so at 1 p.m. Eastern, we have our very, very first talk using the Miter Attack Framework Navigator to create a heat map of threat hunt findings by a dear friend of mine, Ducky, Michael Rodriguez, the senior consultant at Mandiant.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, dude, Ducky is amazing. Follow him at Black Duck Sec. Ducky's a really sharp guy. You have to be a senior consultant at Mandiant. And then after that, I'm happy this is happening early before I get too loopy or start screwing things up on audio, is we have our red versus blue panel discussion. And I am particularly proud of this. Like I've organized a lot of panels in my time, but it's going to be a general red versus blue panel discussion with Derek Rook from Sands Institute, Malware Jake, Litmoose, Katie Knowles, also known as Sigil, and Nick Carr, and maybe Casper and maybe Quadling if they want to grace us with their presence.
That's at 2:00.
That is at 2:00 Eastern.
We're there.
Wait,
that group?
wait, what time?
2:00 Eastern.
Okay.
11 to 12, 12 to 1, 1 to 2. Yeah, I'm such an East Coast snob. I'm like, God, why do I have to convert all these? So yeah, that's gonna maybe one of my favorite panels ever. And then directly after that, I don't know why I have to follow that, but I will give a short lightning talk on threat hunty basic things. Now all of these are lightning talks, right? We've kept these to about 20 minutes because this isn't. I mean, it's cool to have the talks and all that, but get in, get out, get some information, get back to the game. And then what else do we have here today? Following me at 5 p.m. Eastern, Mr. Side Pocket, one of the organizers of DEF CON 201 in Jersey. He's going to talk about how to modify your Firefox browser into a red team website vulnerability in OSINT Monster. And then we kind of divert for a second because I thought this would be fun. We have a talk by Mr. Edward Miro, social engineering for introverts. Because not all of us are attention-starved seekers on a stream talking about nothing for hours. What if you're kind of more reserved, but you want to do something like social engineering? Because SE, if you're talking about actual red team engagements, if you're talking about physical engagements and phishing and vishing and that kind of thing, very on topic, very on brand. So he's going to talk about that for a little bit, and then we're going to do a hot wash at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. What's a hot wash? Eric, what's a hot wash?
It's a type of
hot
porn.
wash?
Hey, your name's not Eric. You shush.
The hot wash is
My employer's Gigamon YouTube. Hey, you're not Eric either. Shush. Eric, go.
Okay,
I
so
broke it, Josh. I broke it, Danny. Achievement unlocked.
Dichotomy.
what was the question? I forgot now.
Getting it in.
What is a hot wash as relates to a CTF event?
Folks might know it also as an after actions call. It's basically, again, where red and blue come together after all the dust is settled and all the shots are fired and all the pandemonium is finished, and they can talk about what happened over the course of the game. Red will reveal a lot about their offensive activities, about the tools, techniques, tactics, procedures that they use. Blue team will ask questions and share their defensive things and say, hey, how could I do this better? How could I have seen you over here? Red will sometimes say, that was really amazing what you did on the defensive side. How'd you do that? So it's really kind of the fruition of all the effort that was put forward is that exchange of knowledge in a friendly and a welcoming environment where people can just talk about all the things and gain so much more knowledge on top of what was already learned through the heat of the experience.
All right, and then we're also going to do that on end of day 2, which is tomorrow.
Yep.
So yeah, we have a whole lot of stuff. Oh my God, Eric, it starts in 5 minutes.
Yep, and I'm about to go take care of that. So just to set expectations, the hot wash, there will be a private and a public hot wash. We'll have a highlights one that we can do here at Red's discretion as to what they reveal, and then there will be a one for all the players that will not be streamed. So I just, we talked about that already, but I just want to make that clear for those who are listening, because certainly we're all introverts here, or most of us are, and those who are, I want my players to know that when they attend the hot wash, it's going to be in private, just like it would be at Vegas or any other BSides, Delaware, whatever, and they're going to be at liberty to ask questions, and the red team will have more liberty there to talk in an open fashion. We'll figure out the public highlights for the stream, but just to make that distinction there.
Excellent, absolutely. Yeah, because there's that aspect too where, and this is something we're going to talk about on the panel of how much does red reveal, how little is too little. Should you reveal just everything when you do an engagement because it makes both teams better? Should blue be holding back their own tradecraft or sharing it with red to make them better? Like, that's one of those hot button topics we'll be talking about, like who shares what and for how long and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's part of the panel that we're going to be talking about. So yeah, we're getting down to the wire. Anything else you guys want to chat about real quick before we transition out of our opening and our welcome?
What are we, T-minus 3 minutes at this point?
Just over 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a good time, enjoy yourselves, and may the games begin.
That would have been a good time for me to like transition into like the waiting.
See, he set you up for it, Mr. MC. You had one. No, I won't go there.
No.
You had one job.
I have one job with 75 moving parts to it. Hey,
That sounds
Josh.
May the
familiar.
odds ever be in your favor.
That's appropriate.
Okay, now I'm gonna do it. All right, we'll be back.
The Pros vs. Joes Stay-at-Home CTF is brought to you in part by Red Lion. Red Lion offers information security and compliance professional services that you can depend on to build systems, enable sales, and advance your corporate posture. With MRR and MSP pricing, Red Lion is a trusted source for compliance and security. For more information, visit redlion.io.